I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. As a parent who loves prodigy and not kid non-lucrative field, we will develop the child towards a more lucrative field itself. We will try to develop our child's talent to lucrative fields, i.e. academics, long-term Olympiads, STEM, and etc. Because in this growing society, success cannot be defined anymore as what our kid wants or somebody wants, but their survival later on in the future, what the society wants, what they will be, and etc. And I think this is 3 reasons. The firstly, we already know that our kids will learn fast because they are a prodigy anyway. They are above anybody on their age. And secondly, they will be eventually understand that this is what's better for them, that their parents did prepare for them. Because I think this is 2 reasons. That first, they will know that the world has changed to a capitalist one, and second one, they will later on know that they will need more money to survive, and later on the futuristic agenda. Okay. Next is that I'm going to do a rebuttal that has already been said in the proposition team. They already said that the first one, no one choose to be where they were born, and if someone would follow someone's dream, it would be they will gain validation because they are a prodigy anyway. They are above anybody else. But let's see, just in the current society now, validation comes from like in the society, it will be for someone who is intelligent in some academics way, not in like non-lucrative fields such as like you play sports, you play music. It's not that way, but people will see someone as a genius when they can do like they probably get 100 in their math test and etc. Then people would appreciate them and would validate like, oh, you are so cool and etc. And they will be respected later on, not because of why the opposition team would say that this is validation will come in the non-lucrative field. And then the second one, they already said that okay, you will get better harmony in the family. Because the parents should care about their feeling because they are their role model and etc. Okay, Judge, let me do a clear that we do not forbid them to do a non-lucrative field, but we do want them to focus and eventually will understand. They will eventually understand their parents' perspective because they are prodigy anyway. They will eventually understand later. Okay, and this is why, as the opposition team, we stand that we do not regret if there's any non-lucrative field that our children wants to take as an extra, as an hobby, and etc. But we stand that we should develop our kids' talent more to a lucrative field one. So as long as okay, you want to take a non-lucrative field as a hobby, that's okay. As long as you still agree with us that you should prioritize more in the lucrative field itself. So if we give tasks to them like you have to do homework, this, and then eventually they still have free time and okay, like mom, I want to do music, then that's okay. As long as your task in the lucrative field is done, then it's okay anyway. Okay, and this opposition team goal is that we want to do and decide what's best for our kids in the future so that they can survive later on. And what I'm going to prove in my speech is that the first one, I'm going to prove to you why we should prioritize developing in lucrative field, and the second one, why this is worthy to be justified. Okay, next to my first argument is that my first argument is that why we should prioritize developing in the lucrative field. Okay, first layer, as parents of the prodigy, I think there's 2 reasons. And A, we already know that our children is more capable rather than anybody else. And secondly, we know that our children learn faster than anyone else, so we can make them study in lucrative anyway, and it would be faster for them to gain information, to study, and etc. Second layer, we already know that the world is changing to a capitalist one, where later on it will be even harder for our children to survive. I think there's 2 reasons. The first one, it would be harder for them to get a job or to even apply if they push their talent more to the non-lucrative one. And the second one is that we already know that lucrative matters in the modern society, i.e. academics, computer science, STEM, and ICT, etc. are wanted on this modern world, because we already know that as parents, such thing as non-lucrative like i.e. classical arts, sports would be an unlikely way to survive in the future anyway. And even if the proposition said that it would be okay for our child to lucrative field, like they will still be in school and etc., but their talent is to grow in non-lucrative field. But we should see that what society and what industry wants in the future is not about non-lucrative field, and we want to do what's best for our children anyway. So this is why eventually in the opposition team we are so proud to oppose, and we are proposing that we should prioritize our children's talent to steering them into lucrative field anyway. Okay, and third layer is that we want what's based on our child, and our mechanism there are two. And the first one is that we want to make them study more to lucrative field, i.e. in academics. And the second one, if our kids want to do a non-lucrative things, that's okay, as long as they are still more to a lucrative one. So where eventually this is become the opposition side, because at least we two, both of them matters, that the parent itself want what's best for their child, want their futuristic career to be nice and etc. While the connection between them would still be okay, because the kid can still do something such as their hobby and etc. And the parents would still support them. There would still be an engagement between them. That's okay, but they should prioritizing on their lucrative field anyway. Okay. Next to my second argument is that why this is worthy to be justified. I'm based on principle. Okay, I'm going to prove to give you a principle of utilitarianism, where what we do is what matters and the utility of individuals can get to maximizing later on, where by this context we means that this utility of our kids later on to like get a job, to like have to apply to a job and etc. And what we do is best for them to maximize their utility later on, like what to ability to do later on. And this is why it eventually be in the opposition side anyway, because we do care as a parents. We want to do what our kids best in the future itself. We want to show them like in the futuristic way, it will be harder for you guys to even survive, because people want some careers like such as I think robotics, I think AI, computer science, STEM, and etc. And it's academics. Maybe it could be like economics, law, and etc. Not because your talent such as you can play music, you can play sports, and etc. So this is why it's eventually become, because a lucrative way, it offers high financial rewards and it offers strong income potential and long-term economic stability. We cannot know that an economic stability could what happen in the future. If the proposition said that, it would be okay, because a prodigy would mean that you're on top of anybody else. Like the example is that if you would be a footballer, you will be above anybody else, and this is would make you gain famous and etc. But we cannot know that will this be a short-term or a long-term way one, because it is a non-lucrative way, and we do not know what the future economic stability is, because we cannot know that maybe football can get banned, or maybe football cannot be as what the way it is now, like it could change and etc. We cannot know, but as we know that is our parents' role is to that make sure that our child can survive well in the future itself, and this is in line with the principle of utilitarianism itself, where it's okay that we do not prioritize someone's talent. Like maybe our child wants their talent to be prioritized, but we refuse them. It's okay, because at least they will eventually understand that this is what's better for them based on the principle itself, and their utility will later their utility will get maximized on. And this is why we are okay, and before that it would be at least exclusive on our side, and why our mechanism would solve, because on our mechanism at least one side it would be exclusive, because both still have engagement. And secondly, kid will feel like in the future like, oh, what my parents do for me, it's good for me, and they do not just do this decision based on themselves. And this is why so proud to oppose. Thank you.